Hello everyone. Welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday, the 23rd of March 2026. I'm laughing right off the bat here because what is this season like? You know, a couple of weeks ago, in the depths of despair and despondent, it's been like an absolute literal roller coaster for the longest time. It's Gary here again, and welcome to the show. I think it's going to be quite upbeat today. I certainly hope so anyway, and I'm pretty sure you had the same type and style of weekend that I did, and that was very, very interesting. I mean, this is one of these times, I just think it's more exciting when you're looking at other results. It used to always be you're just looking at one other result. Now we're looking at two other results as we get into the real business end of the season, and the league season that is, of course, and you start to get, I do this thing. I was kind of laughing with pals on the weekend where I pretend that I don't care about the other results as I'm checking my phone every 25 seconds to see if there's any updates on live score. I think it's going to be like that for another 7 times. I hope it's like that for another 7 times anyway. That means that we're still in with a chance up to and including the last game of the season. And once again, it's back into our hands. It's in our hands and it's in Hearts' hands. If they win the remaining 7 games, they win the championship. If we win our remaining 7 games, we win the championship. And that's absolutely incredible. And there's a third team in it that, well, whatever. I guess we'll see what happens over the next wee while. But they don't have their troubles to seek. Let's just say it's not a 2-horse race just yet, but I mean, ideally it will be fairly soon where we get an opportunity to say, right, these guys in third place are just spoilers now. They're just in there to have, what would you say, some friendlies maybe, and some other not so friendlies as they try and spoil what's going to happen at the top. I personally, I've said this before, you can go back and check if you want. I've said I really don't care who wins other than if it's not Rangers. I couldn't give a stuff. I mean, I would prefer it wasn't that mob from the East End. So maybe if I was at a push, I would say Hearts, but I literally don't care if it's not Rangers. So that's just a thing. But the league table's looking a lot more healthy. Again, for us in terms of points, in terms of goal difference as well, we're within 1 win. And the great thing is after the international break, which is coming up this weekend, we're in a situation where we play before they do. We play before anyone does. So if we get a good result against Dundee United at Ibrox in the first game after the split, then we go back to the top of the league. And I actually don't remember when the last time was that we were top of the league. Actually, I wonder if someone could tell me when that was. I really genuinely don't know what that looks like. But there's a lot going on in and around this league championship, and I would have to imagine that the sponsors and the marketing people are absolutely lapping this up with all the clubs and with the SPFL as well. It's absolutely great for the game, but it's only great for us if we win the league. And a couple of weeks ago, didn't think we'd any chance. Now we're back within a chance again. Mentioned last week the conversation with my sister Debbie, where we'll get back into this race and then we'll exclude ourselves again, and we'll probably get back in one more time. Who knows? Who knows? I was chatting to a pal over text on the weekend, and I said, this is going to be. I guess it depends what way you look at it. Like this will be one of the worst teams to win the league championship, and that's what you're going to say if we don't win it. And if we win it, you'll be like, so big deal. We still won it, didn't we? Aye, okay, right. Let's put that down in the history books and then shut your face. So I don't know. I think they're having meltdown after meltdown after meltdown. They're getting all the referee decisions that they need to get, but now they're blaming pitches. Now the board are getting it again. There was a demonstration after the game yesterday. We've had more than our fair share of that over the last 15 years or so. So hell mend them. They had an opportunity to look at the blueprint, the literal and figurative blueprint that is, and it's one of these things where they just can't get out of their own way. Long may that continue. And you know what? 7 games to go. Remember I said a few weeks back that is it likely that we would win 11 games? Probably not so much. And then all of a sudden we're now down to 7 games. Could we win 7 games on the spin? I doubt it, but maybe we don't need to win 7 games on the spin. So I guess we just need to see what that looks like. But I'm sure someone somewhere will be using AI to do this. The league championship, the favourites were Hearts, and then it went down and up and down and up, and then it was all like that over the course of the last 10 games or so. Probably would be a good statistical reference for that. But exciting times, very, very exciting. Some topsy-turvy weekends ahead. I'm just going to enjoy the fact that we had a really good performance, a really good result this last weekend. We've put ourselves in a really good position. There was a 5-goal swing between us and that mob in the East End, and we're already in a healthier position than Hearts in terms of the league championship as well. So, in terms of goal difference within the league championship. So, I mean, there's not a lot to complain about. We could have scored maybe more goals, but that's maybe another complaint for another day. So here's my thing. I'm going to try, and I think I did a good job on the weekend. I'm going to try and keep a calm head over the next, the next 7-8 weeks, something like that, 7 weeks, I think it is probably, that I'm hopefully going to be your voice of calm and your voice of reason. So if you're a regular listener, then I'm going to try and do my very best. I haven't always done that, but I think I've done a relatively decent job of it. If you're a new listener, come here for a wee bit of calm, a wee bit of serenity, and I'll see what I can do. And I apologise in advance because some weeks it might be a wee bit more of a downer than other weeks, but that's just where we've got ourselves to. And again, if someone had said last September, October time that we'd be in this position with 7 games to go, we would have thought they were smoking crack, totally smoking crack, and then some. So we'll take it and we'll see how it goes. So the game, of course, the only game that we had this last week was the 4-1 victory against Aberdeen at Ibrox, and it was a canter. It really was, wasn't it? I mean, we're not. I was chatting with David Edgar from the Heart and Hand podcast on the weekend there, and we were just kind of reflecting on the fact that that's 3 times we've played Aberdeen this year. What was it now? Remember we played them twice in a week, 2-0, 2-0, and then 4-1. And they don't have that old Aberdeen gusto where they only show up against us and such. And it was pretty easy against them overall. And another great atmosphere that we had in the game, another really good performance that we put in there as well. And I think Danny Rule said in his post-match press conference, I can't remember which one it was, whether it was on Sky or whatever channel it was on back home and in Rangers TV as well. He said, we don't really have anything to fear against the top 3 or the top 2 teams other than ourselves, because we readily beat Hearts there. It could have been much more. And Ibrox there last month or maybe early this month, I can't remember the exact date now. And that mob from the East End just scored a last gasp equaliser against us when it should have been out of sight within an hour. So that bodes well for us in terms of statistics and such. Like, we are creating the most chances, we are scoring the most goals, and we're letting the least amount in. It doesn't feel like that, does it? When you do that, when you're inside the game, you're like, oh my god, this is awful. But that's stats. That's just what the stats say. So we're in a situation here where we just keep that going, and we just continue to keep ourselves a shade ahead of the rest of them. If we win it on goal difference, I'll be okay. I'll probably have a massive heart attack or some sort of coronary event between now and the end of the season. But if someone would say right now, Gary, we're going to win it. We're going to win it on goal difference. It's going to be a wee bit fraught between now and the end of the season, but trust in the process. We're going to win it. I think I would be good with that. I would much rather win it in the midweek game prior to the end of the season, and then we can just really enjoy the last game of the season. I'll get to the games here in a wee bit. But in terms of the Aberdeen game, not too much happening in the first half hour, just kind of feeling them out really. I mean, they were just kind of waiting for us to do something, and kind of so were the fans. A couple of chances that we had. Chimite could have went across a goalie, put it in the side netting, and his goal droop's a bit of a worry. But we're going to be playing some of the bigger teams again here very shortly, so hopefully he'll kind of rediscover his touch in that. But with brilliant goals, it was great to see 4 different goal scorers as well. None of them the strikers. I don't know. Let's focus on the positive, but a great goal. Actually, 4 really good goals, especially Tav's. What about a free kick like that at the end of the game? But Chikwani got, I believe it's his first goal for Rangers. Mikey Moore capped off a brilliant display with a great finish. And then we had, of course, Nico Raskin poking it in, and then Tav's absolutely tremendous free kick there. We need more of that. Tav, we need more of these free kicks around about that type of style of area, and then give him the opportunity to, I imagine this is his last season. Been saying that for a couple of years now, though, haven't we? But maybe get him to sign off with an absolute bang, and it's just great from a goal difference perspective, and great to send the fans away really, really happy, because that was definitely, at the very least, a 3-goal spread in terms of play, in terms of chances created, in terms of our overall what we deserved and such. And of course, we lost 1 goal there when we were just getting a wee bit cute at the back there. And then, who was it now? I think it was Chikwani, actually, that gave the ball away. And this is what separates our strikers from other strikers. Our strikers don't have that ruthlessness, that genuine, I'm only going to get one, maybe two chances in this game. I'm going to do absolutely everything I can to concentrate and really do the best I can when that chance comes along, because I've said it for years. Every single other strike force seems to be so ruthless against us, and we seem to be so good at squandering a number of chances that we get, and I just don't understand that. I really don't. I kind of lament on that. Like we need X amount of chances, like 7 or 8 or 9 chances to score 2 or 3 goals, and Aberdeen had one decent chance and they scored it, and it was fair enough. It was a good passing, good finish from the guy to make it 2-1. But the great thing was the team responded very, very well straight away and just said, all right, that was our bad, that was our fault, let's just move on. And then we got the third goal pretty quickly after that. And then, of course, we get the goal chopped for handball. I'll get to that when we get to the referee watch. But apart from us gifting them that goal, they never really laid a glove on us. And as I say, haven't for the whole season. And it's one of these things, I don't think we'll remember this come the end of the season, but getting a 3-goal victory at Ibrox is what we should be targeting at the very bare minimum between now and the end of the season. In fact, actually, what's that going to be? There's going to be 3 more games at Ibrox and 4 away from home. So great that we had that result against St Mirren there last week to just get that we haven't won away from home in 2 months moniker off our back, or label off of our back, target off of our back, whatever you get the reference, But, we're obviously going to be away to Falkirk prior to the split, and then we're going to be away at Sharkhead and Tynecastle, as well as, I don't know what the other one's going to be. So I guess we'll see what that looks like. But it was all us. The game was entertaining, with a lot of really good performances. And you can tell that the team are gelling. You can tell the team are really enjoying their play, especially at Ibrox. So, maximum points from those 3 games gives us 9, so 12. I wish it was 12. Gives us 9 points, and then we'll get an opportunity to see what happens away from home, because that mob from the East End and Hearts aren't going to go on a 7-game winning streak. They're just not. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. In terms of positives, 3 goals, goal difference cushion there. A victory by 3 goals, 3 points, of course, in the championship, and much healthier looking league table overall. We played really, really well. Not a lot of drama really attached to the game. Doesn't look like we had any injuries, and we get a chance for some game time, and for the fans to go away chanting about the team, and really looking forward to the weekend, and basically saying to that mob from the East End, over to you. We did our part, and that's a healthy place to be in. And as I said, we're going to get to do that after the international break as well. In terms of negatives, their goal was annoying. That was completely on us, just farting about too much at the back there, just completely unnecessarily. And I don't understand that. But we did take the game by the scruff of the neck straight after that, and got back to what we needed to get back to. And we just, if we'd have kept our cool a wee bit more in front of goals, and if our strikers could get their shooting boots on, Mr. Chermiti, please, then we can start to really take goal difference out of the equation completely. Because within a game there was a 5-goal swing, like I just said there. That could easily happen again the other way for us if we don't really start to pull away and pull ahead on the goal difference. So we're doing well on that, but it could be a wee bit better. We just need to get that ruthless streak, and I don't know how you get that in. I don't know if that you're able to coach that in and just plant some seeds with the strikers to say you might never ever get another chance like this ever again to be in the highlight reels of a championship victory, and the most improbable comeback championship victory in Scottish football history. You just never know what that's going to look like. So get more ruthless. But, don't just assume another chance is going to come your way. Really, really pay attention. I'm not saying they're trying to miss. I don't mean that whatsoever. But there's probably some self-talk, some trigger, some attitude, some behavioural trait that says every single one of these is going on target with a really good opportunity to go in. And right now it just doesn't seem a wee bit like that for us. So maybe if the coaches are watching or listening, then you could maybe take that to heart and see how you could do about that. If you need any help from Gary Gillen coaching, you know where to come there. Okay, possession, 62%. I have to say it felt like more than that. It felt like the high 60s, maybe low 70s, but what do I know? And interestingly, the stats on the goal attempts was the same as the as the previous game as well. We had 12 shots on goal with 7 on target versus 4 shots on goal with 1 on target. Kind of interesting between games, 2 completely different types and styles of games. Of course, okay, on the referee watch, I've been a bit more ruthless, as regular listeners or watchers will know about this particular part, and this was going to be it's a 7 out of 10, kind of nothing too much happened, nothing that really caught my attention enough to talk about. And then we have Majowski's disallowed goal. I didn't actually see the handball at the beginning. You could hear people shouting for handball in the stadium, and if you watch the highlights back, you'll hear people shouting for it as well. But I maybe I wasn't paying attention, or just wasn't really looking at that kind of passage of play. But here's the thing. So the referee, Matthew McDermott, the ball hits Barron's hand, here, like inside his body sort of thing. It just rifles off him. He doesn't extend an arm. It's not in an unnatural position or anything like that. The referee has turned his back because he thinks he's going to get scudded with the ball, so he doesn't see it. Fair play. And this is where VAR is a farce, because then what happens is, my understanding is there was 25 seconds between that incident and the ball going in the back of the net. Now, the key thing here is the phases of play. We've been talking about phases of play for years and years and years, and the phase of play is nothing to do with the actual goal in and of itself. In fact, at one point, Aberdeen looked like they had controlled possession of the ball again as it went over to the byline, or to the kind of corner area when we stole it back, and then got the ball across for Majowski to put in. It was a great finish he had as well, and muted celebration in respect of what Aberdeen did for his career and all that. I respect that. Good for him. Then it goes back, and then it goes to VAR, and then VAR say, ref, you might want to go and have a look at this. Then the ref goes and has a look at it and goes, any reason to chalk off a goal? And my understanding, talking about stats earlier, that's the 20th goal that we've had chalked off for a VAR decision after the goal has been awarded on the field. 20th goal this season. Imagine what our goal difference would be like then. It would be 20 goals better off, wouldn't it? And I'm not saying that every single one wasn't deserved to be chalked off, but that's a hell of a lot of goals, isn't it, folks? That's a hell of a lot of goals to get chalked off in a single season. I mean, that's almost 2 a game based on where we're at right now. Well, not really. I suppose we've played 31 games now, but 1 and 3/4 games or something. I'd love to see what the stats are for other teams in terms of goals chalked off. Now, so I think literally they got the rule wrong. And in terms of the phase of play, anybody could kind of see what that looks like. But here's my thing for referees now with VAR. The VAR debate is, drawing the lines, and the lines that they had at that Mobs game against whomever it was that scored. Was it Motherwell or something like that a couple of weeks back? I can't remember. The technology doesn't seem to be the best of technologies that we have. I really don't know anything about that type and style of the business that we have, so to speak. But what I think is really, really clear, we've lamented the quality of referees in Scotland for many, many, many years, and every side thinks referees are biased against them and all that. I understand that. That's part of the fun of sport. I think we've got a wee bit more evidence, quite frankly, of the fact that we are pinpointed, targeted, paid attention to a wee bit more than other clubs. Let's just say that. We're in a bucket with 11 clubs, and then there's one other club that get refereed to a different standard, and I think you know exactly who I'm talking about. But back to the referees. In terms of the referees, I think it's quite clear now, are literally not fit for purpose when it comes to the new age of refereeing requirements, which is VAR, the VAR age, because VAR isn't going to go away. I know there's some surveys out there and should we scrap it and stuff. I just can't imagine every single sport in the world is relying more and more and more on technology. For us to rip that back out, and then still be using it in European competitions and such like that, I don't think that's a genuine thing that's going to be part of our future. But what's very clear is that this cohort of referees who grew up in the game for the most part without VAR, and now they're trying to integrate VAR into their refereeing practices, and eventually every new referee, VAR will be a part of that when they get to a certain level within the game. They're just not good enough, and they're not adaptable enough. It's quite obvious for that, because when you've got, what is it, 4-3, it's 2 on VAR, isn't it? And then you get the one referee. So you get 3 experienced grade 1 professionals looking at a TV screen and then coming back and not employing the rules of the game so blatantly, the rules of the game in terms of phases of play and such like that. That's nonsense. That's absolutely nonsense. Eventually the lines will get indisputable, and the rules around the lines of what can be offside and can't be offside and such like that, that'll all normalise itself, and that's just a thing. It's just going to be part of the game. I get that. But when you've got three experienced professionals, experienced in inverted commas, that is, professionals, and they're looking and they can't even interpret what they're seeing, and they can't even interpret that alongside the rule book, which they're supposed to be conversant in, that's not good enough. That's just a fact. So when you have Willie Collum and his band of merry men and women, whomever, whatever that team structure looks like, they have to know and understand that the Clancys and the Dallases and the McLeans and the Robertsons and all these guys, they aren't fit for purpose when it comes to refereeing. So we either need to sunset these guys, we either need to give them extensive training, or we need to sunset these guys as quickly as we possibly can and replace them with referees that have a good blend between the technology and what they're seeing on the field. Easier said than done, I know, and I guess it's like a generation of referees that you need to try and sunset at some point, but they'll all be at different stages and ages of their lives and careers. So you need to be able to balance that in. But it's simple. And that's where I've got to in terms of the rationalisation. They're just not good enough, and they're just not good enough in this age. Think about this in terms of your work, to be very fair to the guys. In your work, certain technologies get introduced every now and again, and you struggle in the beginning. Maybe you're not technology focused. Maybe you like the way it was done before. Maybe you're just at an aging stage of your life where you're like, I just another new thing to learn. I really don't want to do that. I've got my eyes on retirement. I'm almost done. Whatever that looks like, I'm giving them a wee bit of understanding in that respect. It's still not good enough. It's nowhere near good enough. And these guys have to know that. And they have to be able to come out and have some sort of communication vehicle to say, we're doing the best we can. This is out with the realms of our core training, our ability to referee effectively. And this, we're going to do the very best we can. But understand there's going to be some mistakes, and we're going to try and eradicate those as quickly as possible. So either training or get these guys sunsetted as quickly as possible and get new folks coming in. The debate of whether they should be full-time or not, I don't know if there's enough money in the game in Scotland to be able to justify that amount of Grade 1 full-time referees. I'm not 100% sure, but something has to give, and I think it's getting these guys literally out of the way to get the more technology-focused folks to come in that can balance both. That's my suggestion. Give me a wee thought in the comments as to what you think, and whether you think that would be, whether that's fair, whether that's a fair assessment or not. So in terms of next games for us, obviously the international break this weekend, where Scotland don't have to play anyone of any note. I think, is it Japan or something? Friendlies. I just don't do friendlies. Do you know why I don't do friendlies? I just don't do them. So that's a in-joke for my family there. But it gives us a wee bit of a break and a breather. Hopefully the players go away into international duty, come back unscathed for the run-in, and hopefully that's not the same for our two major rivals as well. Wink, wink. So we'll see what that looks like. But interestingly, I did a wee bit of research yesterday, just in terms of the games, this game schedule after the split. And what we've got is the first weekend back is the weekend of, because we've got this is the international break weekend, and then it's a wee straight back, and then we've got the two games, and then there's the Scottish Cup and such. So anyway, the first weekend is the 25th and 26th of April. So essentially over a month away from here after the split. 2 league games in between times, of course. Then it's the 2nd or 3rd of May, also a weekend. Then it's the 9th or 10th of May, also the weekend. The 10th is Leo's 17th birthday. So there you go. That'll be a party weekend. Then it's a midweek game. The midweek game is the second last game of the season. And then the 16th of May is the final game for the top 6. Final game day for the top 6. And it's already confirmed to be a 12:30 p.m. kickoff UK time. So 5:30 my time, 7:30 Eastern time. It's 4:30 on the West Coast. So that's really, really interesting, because as I said, we're going to have 3 away games. So I was kind of bantering a wee bit with some pals on a group chat yesterday, talking about, I bet we're away at Tynecastle in the last game of the season, and that mob will be home to Falkirk. It will be something like that. I can't see there being any chance that one of our home games is going to be the last game of the season, and that mob would be away from home. So, you know, cue the conspiracy theorists and such like that, and there'll be a microscope on absolutely everything. The simple fact is, for me, we have to play these games anyway. It doesn't really matter when we have to play them, but we obviously want to try and amass as many points as we possibly can early after a split so that we know what our world future and our destiny is going to look like in terms of whether it's in our hands or not in our hands and what has to happen or not. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see that. But once it gets going between the 25th of April and the 16th of May, we've got those 5 games, 1 midweek, 4 weekend, and it's going to be monumental as long as we can keep this up and see who's really going to blink first. That mob from the East End, obviously blinking all over the place, and they're getting their results themselves all in a fuddle. It's a shame, I have to say. Not. So Hearts haven't had much of a blink yet. Not much. So we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, some interesting times ahead. In terms of shout-outs for this week, nothing too much came up. I'll start with Amanda and Jason Junior Ross, who are running the London Marathon. That's coming up really quick here on behalf of the Royal British Legion. As always, I'll leave the link there, and if you have got an opportunity to sponsor them, even £1, that would be much appreciated by both of those fine folks. I hope the training is going well and you're getting yourselves organised for this 26.1 miles or something like that, whatever that looks like. But I wasn't sure whether to do this in the communication or do it in the shout out. So I'll do it in the shout out just because I felt like it. But Club 1872, remember them? They have kind of reframed themselves, and the shout out part is that they are back with a bit of a bang because they have enlisted the help of a new board, and containing none other than Rangers legend John Brown, a fellow by the name of Alan Fraser, who's been very active in the Rangers volunteer community and done a lot of charity work as well, Ian McComb and Scott Carline. I don't know Ian or Scott, so hopefully I've pronounced both of your surnames correctly there. But the announcement said Club 1872 is delighted to confirm the appointment of a new board, which includes Rangers legend John Brown, Alan Fraser, Ian McComb and Scott Carline. All 4 were elected uncontested, and their appointments were independently ratified by Supporters Direct Scotland. They'll now work closely with the continuing board member, Ewan McFarlane. Ewan's been a mainstay there. I talked to Ewan many times about trying to get him, not many times, a few times about trying to get him on the podcast, and we agreed that we would do that, and never quite made it happen. Unfortunately, maybe we'll do that once the dust settles on this season. That'll be a wee segment for the summertime. The communication goes on to say, as previously communicated, we will move forward positively in collaboration with Rangers Football Club and most importantly the supporters in 2026 and beyond. The new Heritage Projects model is key to maintaining investment, and we are passionate about delivering tangible community improvement at Rangers. However, we will continue our shareholder relationship with the club and continue to invest in shares when opportunities arise. So Club 1872, it was a great concept. You remember Dave King kind of endorsed them back in the day to try and see if it was feasible or possible for them to buy his shares. So he knew that it was going back into the Rangers supporters pool and such. This was before Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marathi were even a thing, were even a twinkle in our eye, and see how it goes. I actually heard that Parag Marathi has stepped down from his role as vice chairman due to competing club rules or something like that. It wasn't too much I read about it, but Andrew Kavanagh seems to be the mainstay, and we've got kind of since Dave King left us, we now have like that figurehead in terms of the chairman, that person where you're kind of like, I'm going to listen to what this guy says here, so good for him. But Club 1872 having had the troubles to seek in terms of buying all these shares, getting all this shareholder money in, and then they just kind of had a bit of an implosion and were kind of trying to act as a de facto supporters group and kind of lost their way a wee bit, and I genuinely feel for people in those positions, because having been involved with NARSA for coming up for 14 years now, we haven't had the troubles to seek at times, and we struggle with identity every now and again about what we wanted to be. Did we want to actually be a genuine spokesperson for the fans over in North America, or did we want to be party planners and just give people a good time and not really get involved in the politics? And we've dabbled in a bunch of different things over the years. The main thing we've wanted to do, certainly in my tenure, is help the club wherever we can. And I hope on occasion we've done that. We took a convention down to Kissimmee last year in direct help of the club to satisfy their ongoing relationship with Experience Kissimmee. So I think we've demonstrated our willingness to be able to do that, and we'll continue to do that going forward under Alan's charge, and we'll see what happens here over the next wee while. So good to see them coming back, and it's a great appointment because John Brown doesn't mess around, and John Brown doesn't mince his words, and John Brown wouldn't get involved in anything that was stupid or not in the best interest of Rangers. So I think it's a masterstroke, and Bomber will do great things in there. He'll call it like it is, and he'll say what he needs to say in order for these folks to be able to do some meaningful work. It does look like they've turned their attention to maybe using some of the funds that they have to be able to do these heritage projects and actually create a literal, keepsake, if you like, or material changes that you can go and look at and see what your investment is actually contributing to, while starting to figure out what does this mean from a shareholder perspective. So good luck to them, and good luck for everyone, especially the returning or the staying Ewan McFarlane, who's been through all the trials and tribulations, and will hopefully have a board there that's worthy of taking them forward into whatever it is they try and do in the future. In terms of the convention update, it's under 80 days, 79 days and 11 weeks. Next week is going to be 10, and it's going to be in single figures, folks. Oh my word. And that is until, of course, Nashville 2026, June the 11th to the 14th. That's World Cup opening weekend. We are at the Cambria Midtown Hotel. We have sold out of our first tranche, actually maybe even the first and second tranche of hotel blocks. So if you're planning and coming, you're just chilling out with a cigar, just waiting to see whether we actually win the league or not, I would recommend you buy both your tickets, your event tickets, and your hotel room, because this is purposefully, intentionally not a massive convention. We're exploring or experimenting with a model of saying, let's get something a bit smaller, something a wee bit more intimate in a destination city, which of course Nashville is in terms of Music City and all that sort of stuff. And there's only so much space. So if we were to have a massive rush towards the end, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people because the tickets are selling and the hotel rooms it's not in abundance. So you would end up staying elsewhere, and it could be the fact that you don't get in. So if you're actually planning on coming, it would be kind of handy if you got your tickets, folks. I know I've been saying that since they went on sale. This is not a marketing ploy. I'm just being very straight and very honest with you to say, if you're genuinely planning on going, now is about the time that you should be thinking about, going onto the website and booking your hotel rooms and booking your tickets there so that you don't miss out, because when it's sold out, there is only space for 200 people in the venue that we've got, only space for 200, and we are creeping up. So if you are in that situation where you are genuinely thinking of going, but you know that it's not going that well, you just get them when you need to get them, I would say right now is the need to get them part, and then you've secured your spot and you know for a fact that you're actually getting to go. Just a reminder that we have 9 in a row legends: Derek Ferguson, Davy Robertson, Mark Walters, and Scott Nisbet, of course. Why am I forgetting Scott Nisbet? I think he was the first one that we confirmed, wasn't he? So we've got them. We've got Stuart Hay from an entertainment perspective. He's doing great things with the Journey Back show right now. We're emceed, of course, by David Edgar. And we have, and I'm going to try it again here. I think I did well the first time I mentioned it, and then I butchered the name the second time. But we have Rebecca Auchterlonie, who's coming to do some entertainment. She'll be giving us some country tunes, she'll be giving us some Rangers tunes, and really doing well there to just add more ambience and a wee bit of something different to the entertainment. And of course, who will be keeping us going through the whole thing in terms of entertainment is DJ Angry Bear. And as I've said before, Angry Bear is not a fun name for this guy. He is angry and he is a bear. So that is the perfect name for Big Colin from Orlando Rangers Supporters Club. He will be your DJ for the entire weekend as well. And one of the more special things that we have, the more unique things that we have, is David Mason, of course, the Rangers historian, who's coming over to do the story of Rangers. And I cannot wait for this, folks. I know I keep saying that, but I am really, really looking forward to this. We've got the perfect room set up for that, and very, very close to the general area that we will be socialising in. And we're in a situation here where we have the itinerary pretty much set. What we've got is a one-pager that we've popped together. We need to make it nice and pretty and look good and all that sort of thing. But what we have is each of the days, we have the World Cup games listed, and then we have the events that's listed. I've said that we're mixing things up a wee bit. So one of the key things is smaller, more intimate event. And one of the other outputs from the survey that we did post Kissing Me last year was, we don't like the formality too much. We don't like the suited and booted and all that sort of thing. Could we make it a wee bit more casual? Of course we can. So on the Walter Smith banquet night, we're going to go for a buffet style meal. Going to be a wee bit relaxed in there. The space that we've got is going to be really conducive for just hanging around, not formality in terms of a top table or anything like that. We're going to figure out what that looks like when we get there in terms of the physicality of how it's going to be. But there's not going to be a stage. There's not going to be all of us up here looking down at all of you or anything like that. We're all going to be intermingled with each other, which is going to be great. And we're mixing up the nights. So we're going to have our cultural night. Our Tam Plunkett Blue night is typically on the Friday. It's going to be the Saturday. And that's to coincide with the whole football theme for the Saturday, leading up to and including the Scotland game against Haiti at 8 o'clock local time as well. So that's what I can tell you. But once we have this one pager solidified and ready, we will get it out to everyone. I know I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now. I've done as much as I could do on that. We just need to get it verified and then get it over to the people who can make it look really nice, and then we'll get it out for you. So, but just to give you a sneak peek, you don't have to pack a suit. If you can come, you can come with whatever you want to wear on the Saturday. I think I'll still wear a shirt or something like that. But I know some folks are doing some Western theme and all that sort of thing. But completely up to you what you do. We're going to make it casual. We're going to make it personable. We're going to make it hopefully to your liking and see how that goes. Worth a try. That's what you asked for. That's what we are doing. We do have confirmation from the club about one of the members of the club that's coming along. We subsequently made a second request today at the behest of the club to say specifically what is it you need from us, bearing in mind that a lot of the leadership there, Jim Gillespie included, haven't experienced NARSA, literally and figuratively. So we're in that situation where we need to kind of re-educate them and then tell them explicitly what we're hoping that they will be able to support us with, so that they can then say yes or no, and then we can see what that looks like. So I'll hold off on any actual formal announcements on that until we get the formal confirmation, and that might drip feed as it comes in. And by the way, we're really going to push that if we win the championship, when we win the championship, that beautiful silver trophy is going to be in Nashville as well. We're going to ask for it. We're going to continue to ask for it. I know there's some logistics in terms of personnel, in terms of insurance, in terms of a whole bunch of security considerations and such. We'll do what we need to do to get that trophy over there. Imagine that for an experience. We've just won the league. We've just sobered up after 3 weeks of partying, and then we're going to do it all again, and you get to get a photograph in Nashville with the trophy in and of itself. Oh yes, I will take that. Another reminder that we do have NARSA Top Golf, the Davy Cooper Memorial Top Golf Tournament. Very, very slow on the sales of that, and admittedly, I haven't bought my tickets. And I think I said last week I was going to do that straight after recording, didn't I? I've got a lot of production work I have to do straight after recording to get this podcast in your eyes and ears. So I probably won't do it straight away, but I'll try and do it tonight. I do have a lodge meeting tonight, so I'll go to that meeting, and then afterwards I'll maybe try and see if I can book the tickets and see what it's looking like. But if you're planning on doing the golf, it would be really, really handy to book your tickets, because right now it's looking like we might not actually go ahead if the numbers continue to be so low. So we'll see what that looks like. We did have, in terms of other NARSA business, we did have a NARSA executive meeting last week where it went on. It went on a wee bit longer than I would like. Alan McWatt knows why, but we're in a situation where mostly it was all about the convention and how we can get it marketed and how we can do a good job leading up to and including the event in and of itself, and just kind of bartering about what the entertainment would look like, where we should spend money to try and accumulate, or speculate to accumulate, I guess is the term, and seeing how it goes from there. And we did have a wee bit of conversations about, we've been in the role now for, since kind of July time, after the whole nonsense and stupidity died away, and Alan got the reins as president and moved forward from there. So we're about 9 months from that, 7, 8, 9 months from that, and then we had a conversation basically on the future of NARSA and what we want to do from a convention perspective, what we want to do from a Rangers TV perspective, what we want to do from a ongoing support of the club's perspective and such. So that's the beginning of a variety of different types and styles of conversations that we are sure to have over the while, but we'll see how that goes over the next wee while. In terms of the communication, there was indeed a Gers guide. Of course there was. Rangers won, so that came out today, and for today there was the Inside Ibrox and the Rangers women's team's highlights, and then there's another 2 segments today as well, because the Rangers women's team are in the Sky Sports Cup final this coming Sunday against Glasgow City, and the Rangers women's team had a bit of a topsy-turvy week. They lost more points in the championship race with a draw away to Hibs, defending champions, but not having their best season this season. Hibs are behind us in 5th place in the women's table. But they then beat Glasgow City yesterday to kind of blow things wide open. And I actually watched the highlights, and the highlights were great because there was a bunch of different cameras there giving you, it wasn't just someone there, kind of with a phone. So there seems to be some really good investment in that as things hot up in the championship race there. And honestly, it was no more than they deserved. They actually won 1-0 with a Katie Wilkinson penalty in injury time, stoppage time. She dispatched the penalty superbly, but it was the best team won, in terms of chances created and such. So that's the cat is back amongst the pigeons now. That they're still in fourth place, but only 5 points behind with 7 games to play. Does that ring a bell? Yeah, we're in a wee bit of a better position than they are, but we're in a situation where we've taken care of Glasgow City once. We need other teams. That's Glasgow City's first defeat of the season as well. Had a few draws, but not any defeats. So I hope the second defeat comes this weekend in the Sky Sports Cup final, and then we can take the trophy back home that we own. And we've been a very good cup team, but not so much a league winning team over the last few years. So here's hoping that we get some good fortune here in the cup final next week, and then the preceding. Or the following, I should say, league games to take us through to the end of the season. Tomorrow there's a loan review, there's going to be a men's international preview, and then there's a segment with Caliste Brookshire for the cup final on Sunday, and then the segment they've been doing on career paths, the different career paths that players have taken and such in the game. On Wednesday, there's Leanne Crichton and Nicola Docherty with a Sky Sports Cup final feature. They're really doing well this week in terms of that. Not so much a lot going on Thursday, Friday. Saturday, there's an under-19s game on Sunday. The Sky Sports Cup final is at Fir Park, and this time the game doesn't clash with any of the men's team games. So hopefully if you're looking for a Rangers fix this week, you can go there and see the team on Sunday at Fir Park, and it's a 3 o'clock kickoff. And I assume it will be on Sky Sports because it's the Sky Sports Cup final. So that will be great for all you folks with all your dodgy sticks and all your dodgy antennas and all that sort of thing. I'm aging myself by saying antennas, I know that. Then you'll get to see the game live on Sky Sports. I don't have any of that, so I'll get to hear what happens during the game through the social media feeds and such, and we'll see how that goes. Instagram and TikTok, we are there on NARSA Comms, or at NARSA Comms, I guess you should say. NARSA Look for us there, follow us, and do what you need to do. Provide us with some content, and we'd be happy to share it on our socials and such. I suggest we're going to get a lot of that as in the lead-in, where we get some TikTok content of goals going in and such. I should have maybe done that actually on the weekend, because we had a fairly decent crowd down there, and the pub was open, it was a good atmosphere and such. Note to self to do that in the future. And of course on YouTube, please do like and subscribe when you get an opportunity to do so. It helps us with our marketing and sponsorship efforts. Okay, we bit of a longer one today. I think mostly the rant of the VAR and the referee situation helped with that, but hopefully this gave you what you needed, and we're all going to do this together. We've got 7 games to make history here, folks, and I think we're going to do it, and we'll do it together. I'll give you what you need, you tell me what I need to know, and we will get ourselves community-based to get that collective effervescence that I spoke about a couple of years back, where we all have euphoria and we're celebrating the same thing at the same time, which is a league championship victory. It's going to be a wee bit sparse this week without there being the men's team game on the weekend. It gives us a chance to rest up, a chance to recuperate, and then really go full bore for the Dundee United game after the break. So thank you very much, as always, for taking the time to tune in to this episode. Please do share it with someone you think might enjoy it. And until next week, take a breather, folks. You enjoy it, and you deserve it, and then come back with all the batteries charged, and we'll see what the last 7 games of the season brings us. Until next week, take care of yourself and all the very best, okay? Follow.